Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 9 at Woodbine on Queen's Plate Sunday kicks off a 20-cent, $250,000 guaranteed pick 5 wager. It's the Grade 2 Canadian, fillies and mares going a mile and an eighth on the E.P. Taylor turf course. Now remember, that's one turn on the spacious grass course at Woodbine. Let's take a peek at this field. Your 2-1 morning line favorite is Crystal Cliffs, trained by Graham Motion, who just was able to salvage a dead heat last time out in the Nassau. She got a very fortuitous bob to do so.
She did. She's a nice horse, though, and she obviously fits really well in here. Her recent form, actually her form since she arrived stateside back in 2020, Dan, her form's just been really good. She doesn't run that often, but when she does, she always shows up.
Not sure how fast this pace is going to be, however. We'll throw up the Timeform US pace projector. The number 4, Angelou, 2 for 2 at Woodbine for Kevin Attard since returning to the Attard barn, but both of those races over synthetic. She has speed, and she's likely expected to make the lead. I wonder if the 2 Fev Rover is going to try to get close again.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Fev Rover be close in this race. I really have no argument, though, with the 4 being on the lead. It seems like that's her preferred running style. I realized that her last 2 races are on a different surface, but she's pretty good on turf, too. And I do think she's going to be on the early lead in here.
Speaking of the Queen's Plate, the number 1 Money for Rowe finished 4th against the boys in the plate last year after winning the rich and prestigious Woodbine Oaks. This is going to be her 3rd start of the form cycle, and maybe she's slowly just rounding herself back into shape. She was 3rd in the Dance Smartly last time out behind Fev Rover. I think it was a step up from her seasonal debut, and she has enough tactical speed to stay within range. She's an interesting long shot.
Yeah, she is. I'm a fan of this horse, and I do think that she has a chance in this race. You know, to me, she just really got better towards the end of her 3-year-old campaign. I thought her return from the left was fine, a race where she really had no chance to win behind a front-running winner on a relatively modest pace, and she ran okay last time. I can't say that I loved her effort in the Dance Smartly. She ran fine in there, and it was a new top buyer for her.
Versatile. She runs on turf. She runs on synth. Distances don't seem to bother, and I believe she is pace adaptable. The 2 is Fev Rover, who made her first start for Mark Casse in the aforementioned Dance Smartly, a race we're going to look at right now. And unlike many European-based horses, Fev Rover showed good early speed in this race, made the pace. We're going to see Money for Rowe eventually running 3rd. Bilmott's Wakanaka had a lot of class coming into this race off a rallying effort in the Just a Game. She's just better than Fev Rover, who dug in and tried hard for 2nd.
Yeah, she did. You're going to see her alter course right there after she got overtaken by Wakanaka. She ran fine in here. I respect that she showed speed, I guess, Dan. She did keep top company over in Europe. She didn't really win many races over there, but they did run her in some top races. You know, I don't know. Can she win this race? I think she can. Can't say that I loved her Dance Smartly, though. That was a relatively soft trip on the pace. And to me, there was never a point in the stretch where it looked like she was going to win.
The 3 is Crystal Cliffs, Rafael Hernandez, Graham Motion. 2 of the last 3 starts have resulted in victories, and those were only 3 starts this year. Her only loss came when 2nd in the Gallarette. A fine performance with a good trip behind a nice horse in technical analysis. Let's watch her dead heat win in the Nassau, and she dead heats with a very sharp horse, Lady Spite Spear. Crystal Cliffs, I thought, all in all, worked out a pretty decent trip, tracking in the 2nd flight, eased out, has the entire stretch to get by, and just gets her head down on the wire.
Yeah, she ran, again, just another good performance from her. The trip was a really good one. She's very game through this stretch, and she's just going to, catch part of this photo here to dead heat for the win. A good performance. I don't know, Dan, she doesn't run that often. I think the best thing I can say about her right now is as a 5-year-old, it feels like she may be in the best form of her career because they just keep coming back and running her, and that has been a real problem for her in the past.
Certainly seems that way. This will be the first time she's run 4 times in a row without a layoff line in her career. She's never been off the board, and she's can be depended on to give a good, useful effort as always. Very consistently competitive by her speed figures. Angelou, the expected speed, deserves a chance in this race off her last 2 wins on synth, races where she was up close to the pace and then dominated. Here's her gate-to-wire performance, going this 1 1/8 distance around 2 turns over the Tapeta. She went to the lead in here. She got a very nice rating job from Luis Contreras, and she's too much for them in the stretch as the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, I mean, she's just come back and been in a couple of really nice situations on the other surface there. Two very easy wins for the new trainer. But as we already sort of alluded to in the Open, she's also pretty good on turf. That I know she's 0 for 4 on this surface. She ran well in all 4 of those races. 2 of those for Todd Pletcher in New York last summer. The last time she ran on turf at Saratoga, 11 furlongs in a race where she was up on the pace and took over in a race that was won from last and next to last. She actually ran really well in there.
The 5 Barkin entered last year's Canadian in arguably the best form of her career. She was coming into this race off 2 wins, and she ran an okay third in this field, although I think you can argue that this year's edition of the Canadian may be stronger than the 2021. She hasn't won since her last race, 4th last time out in an optional claiming race, a race that featured a big pace. She kind of just ran evenly.
Yeah, I just don't like her recent form. Back when this filly started her career as a 3-year-old, I really thought there was a chance she was going to turn out to be really good. I really liked the way she began her career, and it just, for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened for her, Dan. Her 3 starts so far this year, they leave a lot to be desired.
Flavian Pratt picks up the mount on the 6 Flirting Bridge, and if you give Flirting Bridge pace, this filly is likely to come with a strong run. She was super impressive, winning her North American debut at Churchill Downs. Like many European horses, again, she didn't break very well. She was last, but she just came 7 wide and swept by everybody and won with the greatest of ease. And she came back and she just happened to catch a really good mare in Princess Grace in this race, the Dr. James Penny Memorial at Parks. And Princess Grace has more tactical speed. We see she's up front turning into the stretch. Flirting Bridge tried that run at Churchill Downs, that wide sweeping move, was second best on the day, but a good effort.
Yeah, though she ran well in here. I'm not so sure that it was even a step back from her stateside debut at Churchill, where she was super impressive winning that day. She ran well in here with just no chance to catch a really good horse who was loose on the lead, going 49 to the half. I don't know. I think she's run really well in both of her starts since it gotten over here, Dan. I think she's really, really dangerous in this race.
4-1 is a very fair price on a filly that's shown this kind of kick and acceleration in her races. The 7 is Keyflower, 10-1 for Mark Cassidy. This horse cutting back in distance. They ran her in the Niagara going 1.25 miles last time out, and she kind of was moving her way in through traffic. She ran an okay 4th, but she's the kind of horse that needs a little bit of pace up front, and I'm not sure she's the best closer in this race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of trip she pulls in here. To me, she was, if you were just going to go for a longer price outside the favorites, to me, this is the horse that I want, and I'm going to use her. I do think she's just better than she looks on paper, Dan. I get that the Niagara last time actually had a pretty good pace, and the horse that won it came from dead last to win. So this horse, all in all, the trip wasn't bad being off it, but man, there was a real chance she was going to win if she could have worked out any kind of a run through the traffic in the stretch. She just really couldn't get a clean one. And all of her other races are good. I still go back to the EP Taylor when she got over here. That's a good performance against a really, really good field. And I'm going to continue to take umbrage with that short comment, dream rail trip. It's not true. This filly did not have a great trip in that race, and she ran really well.
Completing this quality field is the 8 Bellagamba. She is a Group 1 winner in her native Argentina, and she had been knocking on the door in all of her races in North America leading up to the big Dreyfus last time out at Laurel, and maybe she's found her niche going 1.125 miles. Let's watch that race last time out because she trailed in the early portion. She's going to come with a wide outside run, and she wins pretty comfortably at the end of this race against a solid group. She'll be facing better horses on Saturday, but this is a mare that's always hinted at potential for Nacho Correas.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's an interesting horse in here too. I'll be interested to see what kind of price she goes off at. It's clearly a step up in class, but I have no knocks on her form, and I really like this win.
6-1 on the morning line for the 8 Bellagamba. Again, we are kicking off a guaranteed pool in the pick 5. $250,000 guarantee. Minimum bet 20 cents for the pick 5. Let's take a look at our top picks for the grade 2 Canadian. Flirting Bridge has the big kick from off the pace. I think the pace will be fair.
Yeah, she's probably going to need at least a little bit of help, but I like both of her starts since they've gotten her over here. Again, I'm going to take her on top. I'm going to try to get Keyflower in there with her.
I really love Crystal Cliff's consistency. She seems to fire every single time. She's got tactical speed. The mile and an eighth, I have to admit, I have a little bit of a question about it with her, even though she does own a victory at the distance. But I just think with her consistent performance, she'll be right there. This is a good field. It's a great day of racing at Woodbine. It's Queen's Plate Sunday. Mike's going Flirting Bridge. I'm going Crystal Cliffs. It's the Grade 2 Canadian. Best of luck.